Salut! In this video, we're going to be talking about the 4 pillars for a business visa application for France. And this is going to be useful if you plan to move to France and you want to apply for a visa profession libérale, a carte de séjour entrepreneur profession libérale from the UK, a visa talent, or if you're already in France with a long stay visitor visa, but you want to switch to a visa profession libérale. Often you may hear that there are about 20 visas to move to France, that is going to take 8 to 10 steps, and it feels deflating. So the reality is that if you plan to freelance in France, we're going to narrow this down to just about 2 visas. The visa profession libérale, which is called carte de séjour entrepreneur profession libérale for the UK, and the visa talent. And your visa homework can be regrouped into 4 steps or pillars, which we are going to look at in this video. For those who don't know me, I'm Valerie Aston. I'm the founder of Start Business in France, and I help expatriates prepare, create, and manage their first freelance activity in France. First pillar for your business visa application is brainstorming and reality check. I actually call this first pillar the foundations, as you want to get it right before you start building anything. See it as a mixture of brainstorming and daydreaming. What kind of activity could you do in France to earn a regular income? It could be something based on your experience. You've been working in marketing, HR, IT for 20 years, a passion or specific knowledge, history, wine, copywriting, insomnia, AI, automation. This is something that you could easily teach online, or it could be a hobby that you could teach in France: golfing, yoga, surfing, reform, Pilates, veggie cooking, etc. For some of those, you might even consider taking some extra training while at home or launching a side hustle at home to test the market. Part of your job at this stage is to see which 1 or 2 ideas could generate regular income. Which one could you see yourself doing for the years to come? Well, okay, maybe at least 3 to 5 years. Which one do you feel the most excited about? Now here comes the daydreaming. Can you imagine what your future life in France would be doing this activity? Could you imagine what your ideal day or your ideal week would look like? And if you still feel excited, this is a good sign. As part of the My French Business Visa course, I actually recommend to my students to do a vision board of their future life in France. A customer showed me this week a vision board he had designed on Canva and had printed to hang in his hallway. This way, every day when he goes out or comes back in, he can see his exciting goal and vision for France. The last part of this first pillar is to do a quick reality check based on your visa and your activity. Is your activity regulated in France? Will you have to pay attention to specific rules, for instance, for gîtes, Airbnbs, decorators, shops, e-commerce, and so on? And how will you adapt your project to meet those rules? You also need to do a quick admin check, including things like checking if your passport is about to expire or if your name has changed since you got married or divorced. I know it sounds a bit silly, but often this generates last-minute panic. Damn it, my passport is about to expire before the end of my visa. So we want to look at this before. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this first pillar. It sounds simple, but can be hard to decide on the best idea to go forward. Once you've found the idea, la bonne idée, and for which you can see a potential, it's time to move to pillar number 2, the dreaded business plan. The second pillar to apply for a business visa for France is the business plan. I don't know about you, but for most of my customers, they experience the white page syndrome at this stage. What do I include in a business plan? How long does it need to be? The business plan is here to prove to the French embassy that you know what you're doing and that your project is realistic or feasible. And above all, that it will support you financially once you are in France. Put simply, it answers the 5 W's, and I would say the 5 W's plus 1 H: who, what, when, where, why, and they're all very important: how. The French embassy love this one. Yes, they like a good strategy, but they want to know the nitty-gritty actions that you will take to reach your goals, simply because it shows that you've been thinking about it. Prepare your business plan as if you were about to request a 30,000 euros investment from a bank, and not like a 4-slide deck made in Canva with AI. You need to convince the French embassy that you've done your homework. You know your market inside out, you have clear product and services with set price ranges, your strategy is set, and you have down-to-earth actions to take. My advice is to start with what feels the easiest. who said that it had to be appetizers, dinner, and then dessert. As far as I'm concerned, you can start with cheese or dessert. Show examples of what you do. I love portfolios because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and get external feedback on what you've done so far to help you improve your business plan. At this stage, we also have a quick look at your ideal business setup, the legal structure. What is the easiest legal structure to start with? For 90% of expats, it will be a micro-entrepreneur. Others going for a visa talent or more likely to go for a French incorporated business such as a SAL or a SAS. And we usually have a short-term and long-term strategy. Short-term, we want to make it easy to get the visa and to get to France. And long-term, once you feel more confident and you have renewed your business visa at least once in France, you are likely to change when your business is ready to scale. Both cases, speak to an expert like me or an accountant to avoid searching the web for hours and scaring yourself with the wrong tax rates. If you are feeling worried or pumped up about these two pillars, I'm inviting you to have a look at my French business visa course. This course is designed to help you create the best business visa application from France from start to finish with confidence. It walks you step by step through the 4 pillars that I'm covering in this video with how-to videos, list of regulated activities, workbooks, and templates including business plan and financial plan. It also includes one-to-one coaching with me. This means that we'll be catching up every other week to debrief on the progress that you've made. I'll explain or collaborate with you on tough topics such as French rules and regulations, adapting your strategy for France, legal structure and taxes, all the way to the business visa submission step. Whenever you feel stuck, you know that you can reach out for a one-to-one call with me or via the private forum. I'll add the link in the description below this video. Right, back to pillar number 3, finance planning. Scary, right? The third pillar is financial planning. We are going to be looking at your finances, meaning your savings, your future French budget, your business financial plan. Okay, Valerie, that's easily said, but what do I include in those? So let's look at each one of those. The first one is your savings. It's best to have savings to live from. A customer of mine just mentioned this week some unexpected building work on the property she just recently purchased for a large gîte Airbnb retreat complex. 2 new bathrooms and 2 new kitchens having to be fitted, so you want to have a safety net for this. The French embassy wants to see 17,000 euros of net income, that means after taxes. This is based on the French minimum wage called SMIC, so make sure that you check this amount if you're watching this video in the future, as the SMIC tends to be updated every year to reflect the inflation. This amount can be savings or business income. If your business is brand new and you've never freelanced before, it's best to have 100% of this amount in savings. The second part is your French personal budget. Now I can hear you already saying, Valerie, I don't live in France. How the heck can I guess the cost of living? Well, you want to think about your rent, and by now you will have started to look at properties in your favorite area to live in France. You're also looking at electricity, food shopping, etc. The good news is that the cost of living is much cheaper in France than in the US. Then you're thinking about your potential sources of income, business income, rental income from your own property, private pension, etc. And we want to see a margin or a safety cushion between these two. That's your safety net. And the French embassy will also see this as a safety net or a lower risk project. In my French business visa course, I provide you with templates both for your personal finances and your business financial plan. In the personal finance, I also give you an idea of the prices for fixed expenses in France and tools to look for properties to rent in France. The third part is your business financial plan. This one is scary, but it's simply a projection of your sales over 3 years as well as your business expenses. For students of my French business visa, I'll do this with you. We usually get this done in 2 sessions. 1, we start with rough numbers, and 2, you research or refine these numbers with something that you feel confident with and that you can achieve. I've done hundreds of business plans and financial plans with French entrepreneurs for 10 years, getting ready to request some investment from a bank, and believe me, we always get there. But more surprisingly, this exercise will help you to understand how much you need to make in order to live in France, but also how the French taxes work. We take this opportunity to review the business type that you've chosen before and adapt the taxes to make some simulations. For instance, How much taxes would you pay if you went for a micro-entrepreneur versus for a French incorporated business such as a SAS or a SAR? This is one of the key steps for your business project. Your move to France suddenly becomes very real. But before we move on to pillar number 4, I just want to give you an idea of the subtasks that you need to do at each step. With My French Business Visa, you'll get a 4-pillar checklist, and for each section, you also get smaller tasks to do, to complete and tick. By the time you get to pillar number 4, you will have done the heavy work and prepared small tasks required for the visa application. For instance, looking for a health cover. Who doesn't like a good checklist, knowing that you're getting closer to the end and having ticked all the boxes in time to submit your visa application? Job done. Pillar number 4 is submitting your visa application. As you might have guessed by now, the hardest part isn't submitting the business visa application, it's preparing for it. Depending on the timescale for your move and the time available to work on your project, pillars 1 to 3 can take anything from 3 to 6 months. Someone working full-time with a family to look after will have less time than someone having a break and deciding to focus fully on the application for a month. What about the business visa application process? Depending on your activity, you might have to request a project validation from ANF, Ministère de l'Intérieur. Typically, activité commerciale when you buy to resell, trade, and activité artisanale when you are making things with your hands, or for a visa talent. This step can take anything from 2 to 8 weeks as we wait for an answer. For other non-regulated activities such as profession libérale, you can submit your visa application directly. This would look like this. 1. You prepare your France visa application online. 2. You submit your project for validation to ANF or Ministère de l'Intérieur for some of you for whom the activity is regulated. 3. You book your VFS TLS appointment. And 4. You prepare your paper dossier, yes, paper, for the VFS TLS appointment. Bring it all and get that printer printing. There you have it, the 4 pillars for a successful business visa application for France. 1. Foundation and reality check. 2. Business plan. 3. Financial planning. And 4. Visa application. Have a look at My French Business Visa course to get the step-by-step process to prepare your best visa application for France. You'll find the link in the video description. You might also want to watch this next video where I give you an overview of the micro-entrepreneur business type, which is used by 90% of expats. Yes, that's my number based on my customers, not a national statistic. But did you know that it's also 2/3 of all new businesses registered in France? This time, this is a national statistic from INSEE, the national body for statistics, who also holds the business records in France. And yes, in 2024, 66% of new businesses registered in France were micro-entrepreneurs. Voilà, à bientôt!